Well, we're in our final prep for the bow season, and believe it or not, it is 2 weeks from Saturday. Our opening day will be on September 6th, so it's coming up. It's Thursday today, so we're down to 16 days and counting. We can't wait. And so, picked up some new bullets from archery country and lacrosse, and we'll talk about our practice routine here and how we're leading up. But a lot of you are probably wondering, I'm even shooting. I've had a lot of problems. It is not a damaged shoulder. It's a nerve problem. I've had an MRI, and something about the sleeves to the nerve are constricting, and I found some stretches that really help. And so before shooting, after shooting, during the day, I've been doing these stretches, usually 2 of each for about 20 to 30 seconds, depending on which stretch. And it's really been helping. I'm waiting for a shot. They're going to give me some kind of steroid shot. Surgery is an option in the future, and physical therapy. So I'm trying to at least do something, and it's enabled me to shoot, especially that stretching, just to keep loose and so my arm doesn't give out. And so it's been going pretty well. I can't say I'm in, top season form, but I've been able to shoot for the last few weeks, and I keep building up. I mean, Jen and I were shooting 10 arrows at a time at one point, and then I'm up to more like 40 arrows right now, and we keep building up. So, and there's a certain way I've been really trying to practice and shoot too, to make sure we're on schedule. So one of the things that we're really trying to do is, you can really overdo it. I would rather, in the early season like this, I would rather shoot every day, trying to get settled in and make the most of each practice session than trying to go through a bunch of arrows. A bunch of arrows is not the answer. You can really shoot too many arrows, it can hurt you. And so we're trying to avoid that and just slowly building up. The worst thing you do is hurt your shoulder, hurt your arm, hurt your wrist, whatever it might be. And especially with me not being as strong as I normally am, it's a real consideration. So try to get the most out of your shooting. That's the first point. And don't worry about arrow count. That can really hurt you in the end, because then what happens is you say, well, I need to shoot 100 arrows today, or I need to shoot 50 arrows today, a certain number. Well, then what happens is, while you're working in your practice sessions, you're learning bad habits. And so then you're repeating those bad habits because you're getting tired and you're worried more about the number than just making good shots. So making a good shot is most important. Number two, don't care about where the arrow's hitting. As long as it's on target, it's really critical. So I'm worried about, when I pull back here, I'm worried about just trying to make a good shot. And I do notice the more that I shoot, even in a given practice session, that my shots and my arm starts to feel better and better. And so that's really important to me too. Again, shooting a little bit after 10 arrows, I feel really good, and just keeping loosen up. And what I find is those first shots feel better and better from day to day. And but I'm not concentrated as much as I want to hit the bullseye. That's important to me. I obviously want to hit what you're aiming at, but I think you can really focus on hitting that dot down there or a certain spot on your 3D target way too much. And so what I want to do is float over that bullseye, and I just want to keep pushing and pulling. If I'm using my index trigger release, I'm going to slowly pull that and let it be as much of a surprise as possible. But I want to keep my hand up there, keep my hand loose, so I'm not gripping the bow, not torquing it, and I just want to make a good shot. And so I think a lot of times you're better off, we're shooting at 40 yards is a reason for that, but you're better off just, and I have to admit, I can't confirm or deny that that I've shot in the hotel room to try to keep in shape. But when you're shooting at 10 feet, 15 feet, you're just trying to pick out a really small dot and aim at. And I think sometimes, because you're not focusing at long distance on a target, you're making better shots because you're just floating. You're allowing your natural aiming. You're not forcing it to the right, left, up and down. You don't even think about that. You just hold on dot, let it float, and make a clean release. Really, really critical. Concentrate on form. The more you can concentrate on form, do that over and over and over again, the more that'll translate into second nature when a deer comes in and you want to shoot that here in the early season. So that's really important too. And then the next thing, when I'm shooting here, we plan on, most of our shots are set up for 22, 25, 26 yards, 18 yards, something like that, you know, a short shot. We're not planning on shooting 30. I think that can lead you down a rabbit hole too, where you're practicing and you think, well, 30 is an easy shot. It's not. It's so much better to keep it around that 20 range. We try to do that too, but almost every time we're coming out now, we're shooting at 40 yards. And I told Jen, like, you know, depending how Jen's shooting or if she's shooting great or not, again, if you're making good shots and you're keeping it on target, when we're shooting at 40, if you look back, there's an article I wrote a long time ago, probably 15 years ago, about shooting longer and to make your short shots better. You probably find it long distance archery practice or something like that. It was probably in the mid 2000s, but it's been really big part of my practice routine. And really 40 is nice. I really like to shoot at 60. This range right here, we're at our 40-yard mark, but when we are right back there or right by the pole building, we're at 70. And so 60, 70, if we feel like we can keep decent groups. And what you find is, here's Jen slapping arrows when she's shooting at 40 here, but when you're shooting at 70, there's a certain distance you're shooting at, whether it's 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 100, that your groups become bad enough that even if you're keeping them on the target, you start to focus on that group size more than you do your shot. 40 right now is a real good, comfortable range for us. Over the next 2 weeks, I can guarantee we'll be back at 50 or 60. And then we'll be able to keep a competent group and we can focus on more of our shooting at that distance than the actual, because the whole idea is you want to still make good shots at whatever distance you're shooting. And then we're cutting that down to a half or third in the field, and boy, your confidence level really goes up. So right now it's about building, and we're continuing to shoot arrows and increase that number of reps each day. There's times we've shot, 25 arrows in the morning, 25 arrows at night. That seems to help us space things out a little bit better as opposed to putting 50 through. That's another tip. If you can shoot 60 arrows in a day, or you have that time, maybe 30 in the morning, 30 in the evening might help you space out and not wear your muscles down and keep you from making bad shots overall. So we're going to keep shooting here, and we're going to get our reps in today. Again, Kentucky is right around the corner, and really looking forward to that. I would say too, and I noticed that with my own, that when I'm shooting and I feel good, I do not want to be sky drawing. I don't want to be ground drawing. I don't want to have to really lean into it to pull back. I want to pull back pretty straight for hunting. And so there's other people like you see shooting up like this, and that'll save. I've been shooting. It's really nice to know that, I have nerve damage or whatever it's from, but it's not from shooting. My shoulder is still in really strong shape, rotator cuff, everything. They've done so much testing on that. No problem there. And so what it means is the way I've been shooting hasn't hurt me for tens of thousands of arrows for a very, very long time, since the 80s. A lot of competition, shooting 10,000 arrows plus a year, and it hasn't hurt me. So what I like to do, and this helps me even on target, doesn't matter if it's target or bow hunting, is when I pull back, I like to pull back fairly straight. And you can see I have some shake right now, and that's okay. I look at it because I just, with the problems I've had, but I like being able to shoot as if I'm on the stand, meaning I'm looking at that buck right there, I'm pulling back, and I'm really not getting a lot of bow wobble in there to ultimately make that shot. So I want to be able to pull straight back. I don't want a lot of movement in the tree. And we all have a rate of failure when we're shooting at that animal, and that varies greatly between the bow hunter, but we all have a failure rate. Nothing's perfect. Some of the things we can eliminate is that movement, spooking deer. I personally like sitting and shooting. I don't want to stand. When you're standing, you're more active, you're more movable. I want to just be able to sit, enjoy a quiet, comfortable sit, and make that shot. We set up our stands for that. So try to take those things out of the equation. How much you move. We can choose to blend in to the stand. We can draw straight back so we're not spooking deer. Everything has to be quiet on the bow. because we got a lot of other things to think about, including shooting. So we're going to take a bunch of reps here and try to get even further honed in for Kentucky coming up really quick. One thing I have to mention, and I'm not too proud to admit this, is that I usually shoot at about 63 pounds. And to start out shooting, and the problems I've had with my shoulder, I did lower the bow down to 51 pounds, and then I turned it back up to 55. So that's where I'm at right now. Even my new bow that's coming from Matthews, I had them set it at 55 straight from the factory. But it's really helped, and who cares? You know, I can move my bow up later as it gets into the season if I want to. But I think it's better to go down and make good shots and keep the shakes down, practice on form, everything else, than try to move up and be overbowed. Again, straight pull back, enjoyable, comfortable shooting sessions.
Look at these.
Yeah, see? And, you know, something I can mention too is Jen's, ooh.
Mine, a couple of those.
It doesn't look good. No. But Jen's group, she's been shooting, like when I've been on the road, you've been shooting every day, sometimes twice a day. And she's getting really good groups, and she sent me so many pictures, and they're always sitting here low left. So at 40 yards, really happy with these groups, but I think it's time to change your pin.
I think so. Because
it does that at 32. So every picture she shows me, they're low and a little bit left, 30, 40. What I like about that is you're not chasing your arrow groups every practice session. And so a lot of times, even when you get dialed in at 60 and my groups start to tighten up even more, you'll see that, man, you have a tendency to just be on the left side a little bit, left side a little bit. I want to see that happen for a few days, and then I'm going to move it. Now, if I was in competition and I'm in competition shape, I see it go over to the left a couple shots, and I know I made a good shot. I'm going to adjust it right away. But especially when you're building up to the season, until you're in mid-season form, I really like to let a few practice sessions go by before I'm chasing my pin. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I really want to urge you to check out purewildlifelens.com. That is my seed company. Jen and I founded that 3 seasons ago. And we have 20 offerings now for you. And there's 3 quick things I want to hit. Pure wildlife blends, meaning we add no coatings, garbage, inert matter to the seed, and we don't try to sell you on that. No fancy colors in the bag. Also, same-day shipping. And bottom line is, I've been researching and building experience on food plotting at a high level for the last 3 decades. Each of that goes into the bag. We choose what we want to plant in the bag, not our seed wholesaler. And all that research goes into that, all that experience. So check out those blends. And again, it's crunch time. Ours are looking beautiful. And if you check out our seed, this is a perfect time to buy. Thank you for watching.